Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome to the Cluster Puck Podcast, part of the MHRT Network here at Center Ice. I am Nick. Beside me here, as always, is Brit. How's it going, Brit?
Good. How are you?
Doing wonderful. Thank you. Just by quick show notes here before we begin, don't forget our show has switched to Thursdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Central Time. So don't forget to set your calendars to that before any of the show begins as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe, follow the MHRT network so you can get notified when shows like the Cluster Puck Podcast go live so you don't miss a single thing. I believe even right now they're probably doing a neighborhood because the Broncos are playing the Chiefs.
Oh,
So
yeah. It's a big one.
if you're coming over to watch us, we thank you. We understand hockey is a very incredible and powerful sport, but needless to say, a lot of Broncos fandom on the network as well. So if you want to follow us specifically, you can follow us at the Cluster Puck Podcast on Facebook, as well as Cluster Puck Avs on Instagram, X, and Threads. So, all right, Brett. Game 1 of the NHL of the 2023-24 Colorado Avalanche regular season is in the books. But before we dive into that, we do have to say that we celebrated 2 birthdays yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. The first one, of course, is yours truly. I'm just kidding. No, it was actually Brit's. It was Brit's birthday yesterday. So if you haven't, I know you got a little bit of love in the comments from other posts. It was of course a win for you. So that's got to be a great birthday gift.
Good birthday.
Yeah. So happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're super excited to always have you here. Think it's awesome that give your insight. So just from one co-host to the other, appreciate
Thank you.
you.
Yeah, it was a good birthday. It's a nice end to the birthday also.
Good. And we also celebrated the podcast's first birthday. I think probably 3 days ago now. I can't remember the official date, but it was somewhere in that realm. But we officially turned a year old on the podcast. So happy birthday to the podcast, to both of us.
Yes.
And been an awesome year. Been a lot of fun.
It's been a good year.
Yep. So, okay. That being said, we have some Avalanche hockey to talk about. Avalanche roll into Los Angeles. Crypto.com Arena, which I still think should be called the Staples Center, but they come out with a 5-2 win over the LA Kings. So, Britt, let's kind of go right into it. Your thoughts on the game, on players, anything you want to have at it.
I mean, in summary, it was basically the best case scenario for what we could have anticipated for this game. And we have so many new players, so many people coming back from long-term injuries, so many different wrenches thrown. And the best we could ask for is that they all did their best and we came out with a win, even if it was sloppy. And that's exactly what we did. It was very sloppy at times, but pretty much everybody busted their butt and we got that win relatively soundly. So I think it's the best we could have asked for out of it, really.
Yeah, I totally agree. And looking at the first period, especially the first period, that whole team came out firing on all cylinders, man. We had puck control, we had possession, we had all kinds of grade A opportunities and scoring chances. I mean, the team looked just like a well-oiled machine. And my first thoughts on that first period were just like, wow, if this is who we're gonna be
right
for the season, it's like it's Stanley Cup, we're going to be going places. So second period, they faltered, and that tended, and I really don't want to be putting comparisons to last year's team and stuff because there's all these new guys, but kind of same old thing where the Avalanche make a big lead and then it gets cut because they just
a couple minutes.
Foot off the gas. Exactly. So it's but it was nice to see they retook control in that third period.
Definitely.
Mikko got that fourth goal, and obviously Miles Wood hits the empty netter. Good stuff to see that they actually were able to take that momentum away from Los Angeles.
Yeah, because that is, especially with a newer team, stealing that momentum and taking that back is it's something that's really hard to do. And it's something that really requires a whole team, as a whole. Usually you'll have like one guy start a fight, or we'll expect McKinnon to take the game back, but really it was like a huge team effort last night. It was really incredible to it felt like everybody was jiving pretty well, considering all of the newbies, especially that I think so many of us were so excited for that second line. We wanted to see Newt come back. Johansson's our money guy that's back, but like really, so the stars were stars. I mean, like our guys, our top line did what the top line does, but I think our third line really stole the show last night. They truly impressed people so much more than I think anybody thought that we would. Miles Wood, people were so yucked about the length of that contract. And now, like, I think that guy won a lot of hearts last night.
He did.
That line was just, there was no quit to him.
Yeah. And I think you're absolutely right. Just, you look at that third line and it seemed like, especially for like that penalty kill, Ross Colton was the man.
Yeah. And he's never
like he was
or with Tampa anyway.
Excellent.
That wasn't his job.
Yeah, and yet we throw him on penalty kill unit 1, and he made a few good plays of batting down pucks with the stick to break up a pass and getting it out of the zone. Like, it was really impressive. And then
I think I read that 13 players on the team had at least 1 minute of penalty kill on the Avs. Granted, Bo Byram made sure we had plenty of penalty kill time for us to get our penalty kill practice in, but that's a really impressive number when you consider like power plays and stuff. A lot of teams like Edmonton, you might see the same players on for almost the whole entire power play, the whole entire game, but like spreading that out, that's something that we really needed, is to start spreading the responsibilities and not just making Cale Makar do everything. So that's really reassuring.
No, it really was. And that's a stat that I wanted to bring up, is that Los Angeles 0 for 5. The penalty kill did exactly what you were hoping they would do. And again, don't want to compare to last year, but it's hard not to.
Yeah.
That's amazing, right?
Especially like when you're getting close to the end of that third period and the other team is down. Usually you have 4 minutes worth of penalties within 5 minutes. That's usually when the other team, like the winning team, slacks off a little bit, and you can kind of take advantage of that. And we just put a foot on their throat and finish the game out. It's nice to see that.
It really is. And there were some questions going from the preseason about, is this going to be the type of team to play a full 60 minutes, to not let, because that last preseason game, it was basically your starting unit or your starting roster, and they let a 3-goal lead slip away. And so, when Los Angeles scores 2 points almost right in a row, the one toward the end of the second period, you're almost kind of wondering, are we going to do it again?
Really,
they don't.
And then
exactly,
the best thing about it is Georgie he played amazing from start to finish. I truly think that we had Mikko with 4 points, Makar with 2, I think, Mac with 2. Really the quiet hero is Georgie. We were outshot, weren't we? We let in like almost 20 shots in one period. He really
somewhere around there,
stable and solid. And one of the goals was off Makar's stick. They were both just such, but it's so nice to see him come out. No jitters. No, he didn't need any. He just played wonderfully.
No, he did exactly what we expected. 36 shots against, 34 saves. Which again, that's
save average.
94 and almost a half, so 94.5, let's say ish. But just kind of like with what you said, those 2 goals. What's that?
Well, and just when you consider the amount of time that he had to face 5-on-4, penalty kill is tough on the goalie too. It's a lot of open space.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just incredible. I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, and that's just it. Is you talked about the 2 goals that Los Angeles had, and you can't really put any of those on Georgiev, so to speak. Because like that first one, Jack Johnson gets flattened to the ground, lays on his butt. And wide open,
fell also, didn't he? It was a rough night.
So So it's like if Jack Johnson were to have not got checked up against the boards, he would have still stuck with his guy most likely, and there might not have been a goal, right? So it's like,
Yeah. The look on his face when he was going down was like the most awkward slow motion.
it was. And then like the one you said where it was right off the face off at center ice, they just dump it as fast as they can.
That was
And a
such
quick boom boom, and
as
it
Drew and
was
McKinnon are just sending it to space. It was just a really weird, every little thing went wrong there. It was so bizarre to
yeah.
watch.
Which I mean, to Los Angeles's credit, I mean, it was kind of crafty, you got to admit, but at the same time, it was off of Makar's stick. So had that pass actually landed where it was supposed to, maybe it didn't go in because the trajectory is kind of heading upward. So
it was again, very awkward.
You can't fault Georgiev on that, but at the same time, he still played stellar. He looks like he's in mid-season form.
Unshakable. And it's that when that stupid crap happens, you just don't see him, it doesn't seem to affect him at all, which is huge.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of the good thing to start off with, because we know last year, Georgiev, there were a couple times where you could see he was visibly frustrated, right? Because of stuff like that happened where he wasn't playing to the best of his ability. He let something go in that he really shouldn't have. That I think of the game, I can't remember who it was against, but you could see him slapping his stick.
That was the one with Makar. Didn't like something
top of the net, and Makar had to go and say, no, that's on us.
Yeah.
Not you, right?
And that's what I think, that he's more hard on himself than the team, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And now he's had a full year of games under his belt. I think didn't they say 60 games or something is what he had for
most wins in the NFL last year.
Crazy, right? So I think him being in that shape that he is, I think he's not going to be much of a concern for mistakes.
We just need stability. We don't need up and down with the highs too high or the lows too lows. Just stable.
Exactly. Couple players I wanted to get your opinion on. First one, Jonathan Drouin. What'd you think of your favorite player on the Avalanche?
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, it's you can definitely tell that there's like a little bit of something to work out. Part of me kind of wonders, as much as I love Mac and Drouin, I don't want them to push that too hard until it becomes a nuisance to keep that line. But I am curious if they mix up the second line just kind of disappeared. So I'm wondering if they would move Drouin down or if they would move Rantanen down to kind of spread that wealth out a little bit. But I like it. I thought he looked good. I thought he'd you can tell it's a little shaky, but he looked relatively confident. You know what I mean? He wasn't playing like he felt like he was going to lose his job or, I thought he looked good. I like it. And they all seemed in such good spirits. It was nice to see. There was some like giggles from Mac, and the bench looked happy and satisfied. And that's just how you want to start a season, especially for a guy like him.
Yeah.
Even getting one point, nice. Like, just get your name out there a little bit. It's not like he stood out as bad or good, and that's probably all he wants right now.
Exactly. And you just mentioned what I was going to bring up is he started with a point. He got the secondary assists to that Nathan McKinnon goal to open up the scoring. But just watching him and his passing, the way he conducted himself, kind of like with what you alluded to, I have no reason to believe he's making a turnaround. Granted, it's a 1-game sample size, so it's like, you can't make too much, but just he seemed to play so well, with Nathan McKinnon on that top line. Very impressive to see just how well he played. He had a couple of great opportunities.
He did. He really did. There definitely could have been a couple more goals there with just, a couple inches away, because he's primed. I think he's got a lot more in him ready to come out. And now that he's got that monkey off his back of the first game, I think we'll really see him start to loosen up and find his comfort zone. And you have to, that he probably felt weird about all of his past demons, all the people and stuff that don't do well. I'm sure getting this game out of the way and not making, any big waves is probably huge for him.
No, and you're exactly right. And there was even a couple times I saw him taking faceoffs, and I don't think he lost one.
I don't think so.
I don't think he did. I can't remember, but I think The
We need
faceoffs
somebody
were
to take
pretty
Mac's face-off. Our
much.
face-offs were quite successful last night, considering this
Yeah, we
game.
almost split it dead down the middle. I think
Yeah,
we were off by like 0.6 or something like that. So
yeah,
again, that's one thing I'm also going to be paying attention to this season are the faceoffs, because Nathan McKinnon he's
bad.
one of the best players in the world. He's not one of the best faceoff takers in the
It's just
world,
the
which
weirdest thing. Wouldn't you think that you could like learn
weird.
eventually? I mean, he's
Yeah,
probably can he be the most elite at absolutely every aspect of hockey, except and it just seems like
except for
face-offs would
faceoffs.
be it's so
I don't
weird,
know.
especially with
I
the amount
guess
of time that he spent with Kadri. Like apparently Kadri worked intensely with him, but now maybe Johansson will teach him at a better way, a different learning style. I don't know. But Johansson
well,
was successful with them. I don't know. How'd you feel about that second line last night? I thought it was kind of underwhelming. It's almost seems like it's too much body and no go. I don't know. It wasn't awful.
so I'm going to give them a pass this game,
Mhm.
simply because the Kings' second line is outrageous. Like
Well, yeah, and
they
for a
have a
line that's
really
all
really
night.
good second line. But again, they didn't necessarily. I mean, they didn't have any really wild mistakes or anything like that. They
No.
played solid,
Yeah,
right? But again, but that's the thing. It's like top line, obviously they got all the points. Third line, you could see the hustle, right? It's like that was the
right.
notice. Fourth line, unless your name was Logan O'Connor, didn't play any game.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and that's
but
if you're gonna have 3 good lines, they're not all gonna be at the top at once. So, even with if it's the second line, sometimes the best you can say is like, "Don't lose the game," but we can be carried by the other lines, and they didn't make any astronomical, like, just awful mistakes. So,
mhm.
yeah, I agree with you there that
Yeah,
sometimes
so on that second line, the one big thing I did like about Ryan Johansson was when he got down and like he's on that first penalty or power play unit,
Mhm.
he's playing the Gabe Landeskog spot,
He's a
right?
bully.
For a
Yeah,
couple of them, and he was kind of making a statement for himself. Now, granted, he wasn't giving the defense fits per se,
right.
but he was still making them work to keep
Mhm.
that screen place to play open. So he did the little things off the puck that I did notice.
Yeah,
But it would still be good to see him maybe take a couple more chances or risks or whatever.
yeah.
Um, but again, I can't complain too much because Los Angeles' second line is also, pound for pound just as good,
Right,
right?
for
So
sure.
it kind of takes away from the um, spotlight, so to say.
Yeah,
Um, but again, like give it time. I think they'll shine just fine. Lehkonen, he would probably be the one I probably didn't notice the most.
yeah,
I
he's
saw
just been really, really
Nichushkin doing his
quiet.
forechecks. That seemed fine. Johansson, he seemed to be all right with puck movement and getting being the body in the middle. But
Mhm.
Lehkonen was one that I was like, he's usually that guy that's kind of right there to put it in the net,
Yeah,
after
it's
he
weird that
backs
he
up or
was
whatever. He just
very
didn't do
quiet
that.
last night.
Yeah. So I thought it was fine. I didn't have, again, like I said, I'm giving them a pass. So would I like to see them be a lot more boastful because of who they are? Yes, that's,
Mhm.
they're a second line. They should be doing second line things.
Right.
Um, but again, that's something time will tell. But I did have another question for you. So now jumping to the third line,
Mhm.
um, what were your overall reactions to how they gelled together? Speaking of Tatar, Wood, and Colton.
I like it a lot. I'm one of those people that just loves, like, all rush, no chill. I think that there is a good chance for them to make some really big, dumb, painful looking mistakes, but for a third line, I like that they're kind of people willing to take risks. I just cannot believe, especially with Wood and Colton, they skated like you can tell that they're guys who are here to prove,
Hmm.
a contract that they signed before they were on our team. They saw the ice. It's like they had something to prove, and Ellie asked who we thought the best new player was. I think that Ross Colton certainly seems to be the most promising at this point, while Johansson is slated to be a more important role. I mean,
Hmm.
Colton looks like he will stop at nothing And I think he has a very high ceiling, probably higher than Miles Woods, but still, I mean, I just thought that line busted so much butt. And that's so valuable, especially to like the fans and to Bednar. Like they're going to be put in very valuable positions if they show Bednar that they'll bust their butt, because he doesn't put people who are all-stars in positions to do important things if they're not busting their butt. Like he doesn't care. He's just he's like kind of big morals guy on that kind of stuff, it seems. I liked it a lot.
No, I thought it was great. And Allie just posted a comment here about Colton being all over the place, that especially on that penalty kill, like I talked about earlier. I tell you what, though, Miles Wood, he was everywhere. What's the name of the movie? Everywhere, Everything, All at Once, or something like that. He was
New Jersey
was all 5 players out there. It was incredible. Because half the time I'm like, oh, there's Logan O'Connor or there's Nathan McKinnon. No, that is Miles Wood.
Yeah.
And he gets rewarded with an empty net goal. You know, people think, oh, empty netter, but they hustled. They fought for that empty netter.
Exactly. And like, that's something that at the end of the year, when he can say that, you know, he got the most points this one season, like these dumb little goals, they add up. And like, an empty net NHL goal is way more than any of us are ever going to accomplish in the NHL.
Oh, yeah.
I'll take an empty net.
Exactly.
I thought that they're earning their contracts that people may have bitched about.
Yeah.
Ross Bolton was a little too expensive and Miles Wood was a little bit too long, but now it's like, yeah, maybe not, because they're both
maybe it is all going to work out.
Yeah.
But no, like and with Tomas Tatar, we don't want to leave him out of here, but
no, and
his awareness was fantastic.
And that's just kind of, I don't think he's not being brought in to be a game changer or a showstopper. He kind of plays a good role on the ice with a couple of maniacs, you know. It's
he's the guy that holds the leashes while the dogs are trying to chomp someone.
So I thought it was a nice combination. I'm curious to see how it will change. I kept looking at the lines today, and I'm very excited to see what might swap out, especially with Cogliano returning and actually playing the fourth line as the fourth line. McDermott played 2 minutes,
2 shifts, something like that.
And I almost wondered too, some mixture of O'Connor with like Colton and Wood. I just feel like he's so fast that him and Wood together.
He feels like that fourth guy on the third line, basically.
Yeah.
Because it was like we were almost playing 4 guys on the third line. Because Olofsson, granted, he took a knee, which
especially
we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah.
But he showed poise. Like
he's all right.
But again, him and McDermott, what was the final ice time for them? It was
not a lot.
Olofsson got 5 minutes and McDermott got 3 and 6 seconds. So not a ton, but at the same time, they're, that's who they are. That's their role. But
and that's Bednar's
why use it,
lately. Not lately, but and I'd be curious to look back at the Stanley Cup year and see how often. I haven't really looked at the statistics for that, but especially last year. But I feel like that's something we're trying to get out of, just running 2 lines the whole game. At least now we're to 3 and, OC. So it'd be nice to get to 4, but that last minute Cogliano, which they said he is fully healthy. He's fully recovered. Sounds like he's just, the term I heard was like confidence issues. So maybe he just didn't want to be in that spotlight on the home opener or the season opener, and just, it's probably really hard to not feel kind of scared going into the boards when you play how he did and you just broke your neck. So we'll see how he slots back in.
Which that does surprise me, believe it or not, considering we watched him almost get decapitated like 7 times last season, and he gets up. He maybe goes down the tunnel, gets the magic soccer spray, and then he's out. You know what I mean?
It's so insane that he actually finished that game. It's wild.
And I still can't get over the fact that he is back.
I know. If I was his wife, there is no way. Oh my God. I just cannot even imagine watching the games as his mother or as his wife. It makes me like physically ill to think about, especially after that. You'd think that they'd be like, it's time for you to retire, bro. Like, you're done. Especially if he's having confidence issues. So hopefully if he does want to come back and play, that doesn't linger and be an issue, because that's pretty scary. And I completely understand that he has those confidence issues. So not very excited to come back in, I'd imagine, right away.
I think the Rangers just scored a goal.
Is your wife screaming back there?
I have the door shut and I can just hear, oh yeah. That's a passionate wife, and I tell you what, I'm here for it. So couple things here. I want to ask you a couple things called not an overreaction or overreaction. Looks like there's what Ali told me. Kreider just got a shorthanded goal. Well, there you go.
That's what he does.
Okay, so I just need you to tell me if this is an overreaction or not an overreaction. Okay, number one. Mikko Rantanen, Nathan MacKinnon, and Cale Makar will get over 110 points each this season.
MacKinnon, Mikko, and Cale?
Yes. All three.
Appropriate reaction.
Not an overreaction. No, I like that better. Appropriate reaction. That's good. Okay, here's one. Jonathan Drouin will get 60 points this season.
And I think I'm going to I think that is not an overreaction, but I think it weighs heavily on how the lines end up shaking out. And that's, I'm really hoping that they can. Do you
feel like it would be more assist points than goals, like a 40-20 type thing?
Yep. Yeah, I definitely do. Okay. Especially after watching him last night. He definitely seems to be very keen to making that play.
Okay. Overreaction or not an overreaction? Here we go. This one's going to be Bo Byram will take a step back this season.
Yeah, when they take him to jail in the middle of the game. I don't think that that's an overreaction. I think that, so what are we, is this his true, like what, third full season?
Yeah, third or fourth.
I think that he is separated from his injury enough, and in the, he's established. He's got some confidence that I think now we're seeing him start to maybe take some liberties, take some risks, find exactly what kind of player he can be now that he's healthy and solidified within our team. He's signed to a contract. So maybe even not the whole year, but I think he might take a step back for a little while, and then I think he'll find his ground and kind of find that niche spot that he's going to play. But no, I don't think it's an overreaction to think that he might take a step back.
Okay, interesting.
But I also wouldn't think it's an overreaction for him to break the hell out. So
that's right. Okay, this one's going to be a bit more of a tough one because we haven't seen a thing from him. But Justus Annunen will play well enough to be, or to, how did I word this? Justus Annunen will play good enough this season to replace the outgoing Pavel Francouz. Overreaction or not an overreaction?
That one's tough. I don't think it's an overreaction, and I think that's what's going to happen with some growing pains. I think that they will give him some room to grow. I don't think that's an overreaction, and it kind of might be what has to happen because Frankie will be a free agent at the end of the season, and we might not see anything of him. Agent at the end of the season. As much as I love that guy, they said indefinitely, and it's
indefinitely. Yep. Was it McFarland that said that? Who was it that said that?
Yeah,
it wasn't Bednar. Bednar doesn't like saying anything. But...
No, I think it was McFarland mentioned that it was indefinitely, and they did put him on LTIR, which is what, 24 days, 10 games.
Like that, yeah.
So and then with the pickup of Provorov, we could have gotten through with just Annunen if we thought that he was going to be a quick LTIR and then back, but I keep saying Provorov. What's our new goalie's name?
Prosvetov.
We're gonna have to get a nickname for him, but
I thought of one, but I will tell you off air what it is.
But yeah, I think that picking him up so early on the waiver wire was our way of saying we can't. It's too dangerous for us to wait and see what else comes through, which is wild because Martin Jones cleared the waivers. So, but I don't know what his pay is. This guy's cheap. So, yeah, I think that he's going to have to, whether he wants to or not. So hopefully it's not an overreaction.
There you go. Okay, last one. Jared Bednar will win the Jack Adams Award.
You better. Because if it's not, I will be the living, breathing overreaction of the century. I just can't deal with the underappreciation of Jared Bednar anymore. Like it's absolutely absurd considering we
won just the Avalanche in general. We got the Stanley Cup and won the Jim Gregory, but it's like that was it, you know?
Yeah. And I keep going back and forth. Did you see the news? I think that like Friedman posted it and Merrick was talking about it on his show. Like these 20 top broadcasting personalities. Edmonton was picked by like 10 of them to win the Stanley Cup. And then they go out there and get their butts handed to them last night. Brock Besser scores 4 goals.
Thatcher Demko's flu game.
Yes, you've got the other goalie puking in his helmet and leaving the game. And they're still winning 8. Was it 8-1? 8-1,
I think was the final score.
And that's like, oh,
my
good.
Fantasy goalie.
Draisaitl for my second round fantasy pick. Like, dude. He was supposed to be like my cash cow.
Yeah, he's supposed to be, but hey, I have Thatcher Demko, and
but people are sleeping on the Avs.
Two-thirds of the game.
I hope for good things for Thatcher. Otherwise, I hope they just get him out of
here. That's funny. Allie and I were even just saying it would be nice to see Vancouver be good again, with the exception of JT Miller. But
and I know but they should. That's what the weird thing is. They're so bad, but like they're not bad. They're just not that bad. No. They shouldn't be that bad.
If they're going to play the way they played.
So confusing. But seriously, Edmonton, everybody, it seems like now it's just like, yeah, Colorado's good. They've got Makar, but like Edmonton, man, it's their time. It's their blah, blah, blah. And it's like, they still have Jack Campbell in goal. Like literally the streakiest. I mean, he puts Varlamov's streaks to shame. Campbell has almost unusable at times. And last night was not a way to go out there and reassure all the people who just bet just a bunch of money on the Oilers to win the Stanley Cup. So I like it though. I like seeing them
that'll make people roll over in their beds, man. That's going to be when they're going to think about it. It's good for them to sleep on
us. Let them forget about us until,
I think it's perfect. Yep, I agree. Okay, let's roll into our next couple of segments here. This one, we're going to be talking again. First game, I think we went away injury free. Knock on wood. But I want to see, because you are in fact a team doctor naturally. But what do the Avalanche have to do to stay healthy during the season? Or as healthy as possible? I know it's kind of a loaded question, facing down the barrel of a gun, but how do you mitigate that? What can you do as a player to not get injured all the freaking time?
I think that the key for the Avs, particularly, is getting 3 to 4 lines rolling. We can't be playing so many minutes and have our bodies constantly pushed to the limit over and over and over again, especially with Makar, McKinnon, and some of our older guys. The more we can push to have the workload spread, the less injuries we'll see. And that's what my big thing with all these teams that are running short, because they're up against the cap, so they're running short a player. I think we're going to see more injuries as this happens. And it's just like all these cap issues is going to lead to more injuries when we are overplaying the same players night after night after night, because we literally can't afford to add another person on the bench, no matter who they are. It's wild.
Yep. That's exactly I mean, couldn't have said it better myself. and Allie gave her 2 cents in here. The reason we say that is we watched a video the other day about like, it's one of those animated scenario things of a shark. You're in the ocean alone and a shark's coming and it's about to eat you and whatnot. The question is, what would you do in this situation? And the first answer was, play 200-foot game. Pucks
the predictability of the hockey
and
players.
it was like, oh yeah, you could have just said that. But no, I think another thing as far as staying healthy is to not put yourself as a player, to not put yourself in the situations where you're trying to make that play, you're trying to be that guy, and you're putting your body on the line. We see Andrew Cogliano do this all the time. Granted, he got away with it 9 times out of 10 last season. But and I understand there are those things that you can't avoid because of the stupidity of the other team, but it should be just, you need to, if you get in a fight, if you are, in a scrum, if you stuff like that, difficult to control, I know, but you need to be a little bit more attentive to where you are in relation to the puck, sticks, blades, stuff like that.
And when we have a more dominant team this year, and like to what you're saying, our overall puck possession should go up, which ultimately means less dangerous puck battling. So ideally, we relied so much on those big isolated breakouts, you know what I mean? Such small moments that we won games with. So hopefully, just with overall more puck possession and power, we can avoid those situations that you're talking about.
Exactly. Another thing that I also thought of is in practices and warm-ups and stuff. I understand you're warming up. I understand you're doing that, but you also need to be attentive of where the goalie is, where other players are, because there are still
players get injured in practice. Like our goalies always get injured in practice.
Francouz, most of his injuries have
Kemper
occurred
too.
in a warm-up or a practice.
Yeah, Kemper got that hand injury, and he got I think he got one of his concussions in practice, getting hit in the face.
Yep. So that was another thing. It's, again, we understand that you need to go full out on practices. You need to truly warm up. You have to actually do a shot like you would in a real game. We get that. But at the same time, it isn't that hard to realize what setting you're in. Oh, this is just a warm up. I'm still going to shoot hard, but I'm going to aim a little more correctly so I don't have right at the goalie or a player that's just reclaiming a puck, whatever. I feel like that tends to be the Avalanche's kryptonite, especially for goalies, where kind of like with what you alluded to, they seem to be the ones that get injured off the ice or during a warm-up. So
especially like warm-ups are like the bane of my existence as a goalie. I skip warm-up like every chance possible for beer league. Like if I can just get warm, it's just begging to get hurt. Like the number of pucks I've taken to like the back of my leg, turning around, like if I turn around to fix my glove or something, like get hit. We had one girl in high school who, they like chipped the back of her hip because somebody just took a full-on shot and like her hip bone got chipped from warm-ups are just the worst. And the fact that they don't wear helmets makes me it blows my mind that they don't wear helmets.
And Connor Bedard's part of that.
I know. But that's
part of that group. I'm pretty sure they told him to do
totally
that.
Whatever about it. They're fining him like $5,000, and I heard that the team was going to pay for it. And it's like
I'm sure they told him to get the media going. And
people are mad about how much FaceTime he's getting, but like the NHL needs to make money. Like, let's just lean into this and make him fun and marketable. Like, he's kind of goofy, and he's a little cutie. So like he can skate out there with his helmet off. Cause a lot of hockey players, like nobody knows what they really look like that much. You know what I mean? Cause you don't get a good look at guys. You don't get a full, so seeing him without his helmet is kind of like make his face more known the way I see it. I don't think it's too bad.
His little 8-year-old face.
I know. And that's what I hadn't watched his preseason stuff. And then last night I was like, dang, he is little, but he is good. That first assist that he got, that pass was so nice.
It was very good. I do think it's funny just seeing him like with the media and stuff like that. And you saw the picture of him with his first goal. He had the puck just like this and just.
I know. Well, did you see him come out and say, like, I would be so annoyed if I were a fan and they're talking about me way too much, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I'm really like, I just like the kid. I really wish he was not in Chicago. I wish they would just like yeet him to as far away from the Avs as possible, but we're going to be dealing with him for a long time.
That's right. But talking about the young talent and stuff like that,
Mhm.
we're seeing, Fantilli's on the ice right now.
Yeah, he's in my
Um,
fantasy team too.
there's a lot of this new generation of players, especially in this last draft. There's a lot of good picks here.
Yes.
Um, so for the Avalanche, we had that movement. We had Bo Byram, Alex Newhook, kind of in that same group. Is the Avalanche just geared to have older or seasoned veteran players, or or do you think there's kind of a wave, where it's you start the young kids and then now you can do nothing but
Right.
the older guys?
No, I think that honestly the Avs are like truly one of the pioneers to this new age like of elite skating. And granted, we don't have the showy like puck handling nearly as much, but
Hmm.
we really are just ahead of all of these young guys that come in, and skating and finesse and edge work. All of this is the absolute priority. But I think that sometimes too, it's really easy to forget that most of our guys aren't that old. Like they're not
Yeah.
that old, but they've been around for so long that they feel old. I mean, sometimes it already seems like Makar should be like 35, but I don't know. We'll see. And
He ain't.
it'll be interesting how because we're just a little bit ahead of like the Logan Coolies, all of these little hot shot dudes. But hopefully we age well, and if we can, we'll need a couple new draft picks to get a couple cheap ELC contracts. But I really think that with the group of guys we have, we could keep up with them well into their old ages.
Yeah.
Old 36, 37-year-old guys.
The mid-30s guys. Oh,
Yeah.
they've been around the block. They know a thing or two. Funny. Okay, so last item is the look ahead for this coming week. It's been a while since I've been able to say that, so I'm very excited. We only have 2 games on the docket.
Weird schedule to start with.
Which, yeah, and looking at the schedule, it is very home heavy on the back end of the season.
Yeah, we have a lot.
So we'll be doing a lot of away games to start. But so first game we already won of the 3-game road trip. Next game we have is Saturday against the Sharks.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is Tuesday against the Kraken. So usually I've done my 3 keys to the game, but I kind of want to shake it up a little bit here. Let's just kind of look into what potentially these teams could look like facing them for the first time this season. So starting with the Sharks, they're supposed to be bottom of the barrel, last place in the league.
Still NHL players, though. I mean,
exactly.
Those guys are the guys that come out. That's why Arizona beat us, possibly more than anyone else their Stanley Cup year. I don't know if any other team beat us as many times as Arizona did.
Yeah, probably. They always seem to have our number for some reason, and I still don't know why.
When we just take their goalies.
That's right. So we'll just steal everything from them. I watched the San Jose Sharks play a preseason game here in Salt Lake City. They played against the Kings.
Oh, fun!
And they took the Kings to, this was basically their set and done roster, right? Mm-hmm. They took the Kings to overtime, and if it wasn't for Adrian Kempe scoring like literally 5 seconds into overtime, it would have been. Sharks had all the momentum, right? I think with their additions, with Duclair and Hoffman, those types of players, it's gonna be a shakeup because they have a lot of young kids on the team.
A lot of questionables.
But they're talented though. Like Eklund, he's gonna be someone, right? He's very good. So this is a game where you have to just have foot on the gas the whole time. We did it last season, blew them out 6-0 or 6-1. Got to put it away early, right? Pains me to say it because the Sharks are my second team, but Avalanche first, right?
I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Avs maybe do some weird things and lose or even struggle as we try to figure out lineups, just different little things that we can do against the Sharks that won't be so, that wouldn't be as detrimental as if we did it against, you know, a cup contending team or a better team. It's a good time for us to work out some kinks. Sorry, I just cannot get the words out.
No, you're fine.
But yeah, I think we might see some weirdness. I just don't believe in hitting the panic button, even if we did lose to the Sharks. Especially like the Canadians almost beat Toronto last night. They took them to a shootout. Like you just never count. No one is tanking, I don't think, in our division at this point. So I just don't feel like
Everyone tries. Yep.
count anyone out.
Nope, I totally agree. And that seemed to be the Avalanche thing last year, is they would always play up to play teams that were doing better than them, but they would always play down to the level of teams that they're supposed to just, you know,
and then get goalied.
Boat race. Exactly, and then just get goalied. So that's got to be the thing, is have the mentality that you are the superior team. You are the team that the stats sheet says you're supposed to win, the confidence says you're supposed to win, everything like that. Play like that.
Yeah.
Right. And just put it to bed early, you know, and play a full 60 minutes, you know. I don't know how else to say it. You just play Avalanche hockey at Avalanche level, nothing lower. I don't care if they are supposed to be the last place team. They can steal a win. Every team this season can steal a win from you if you're not on your toes.
Who is the Sharks? Wow, that's a really weird goalie list. Is Kakinen supposed to be their starter, or is Mackenzie Blackwood? That's
Kapanen. So that's the hard part. I want to say Blackwood actually might get the nod.
Okay.
At least that's who they seem to be trending toward, was Blackwood.
That's Blackwood. Is that he from the one from New Jersey or
yeah.
Okay.
Wedgwood is Dallas.
Wedgwood. Okay. I always mix those two up. Okay.
Oh, you're fine.
Because then they've got Magnus Krona. They've got 5 goalies on their gig here. Georgi Romanov.
Sounds like a Star Wars name.
Romanov. And then Yetu Mikiniemi. I don't know these names all. Yeah. But some big old boys. That Romanov. Big Russian.
Yep.
It's just,
and again, they have talented players. I'm this season. I am very excited to see like Barabanov play. Logan Couture, one of my favorite players, obviously.
Very young team.
So they got Hurdle and Couture, those kind of guys that have been around the block. They're kind of leading the team, and then they have all the young guns after that, which is pretty impressive. But yeah, there should be no excuse. Game 2 of the season. But again, this isn't one that shouldn't even be close, if by all accounts the stats hold, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the next game after that on Tuesday is going to be at Climate Pledge Arena, where they will play the Kraken. This one, I only have one player's name in mind for the whole game, and that's Cale Makar. I think all of a sudden Seattle has the idea that Cale Makar is a demon. Like he literally is Satan, because he
is
checked,
so crazy.
Just check Jared McCann when he probably didn't hear the whistle. McCann's back. He's scoring. He's going to be fine for the Kraken. I'm not concerned about that. But it's just
no. I think he's got a number on his back for sure. I think that he's.
Oh yeah, he will be booed every time he touches the puck. He needs to have his head
on a swivel.
He need that too. But just. I want to see, because Cale doesn't face booing very often, if at all.
Because he's a saint. He's literally sent down from Jesus himself to me.
Exactly. He is the nice guy. No one hates him. You can't hate. He's like Marc-Andre Fleury. You just can't hate the guy.
Right.
But Seattle found a reason to. I say. So I'm interested to see how he deals with that type of negative pressure, I guess I'll call it, where they are just going to boo him and say mean things to him the entire time. I don't think it's going to phase him too much. I bet people are there. I bet he's going to be asked about it. You know, like, hey, you received quite the warm welcome here, didn't you? What do you think?
Personally, he's got a pretty good head. You know what I mean? Like, I think he's pretty good at. I think he's a little bit sensitive, but I think he's got a pretty good head on his shoulders. So
yeah. And that's not to even say the team, the Kraken, that might have some choice words because
Yeah. I was just looking at their roster. Jacob Megna is on the Kraken now. I didn't realize that. Is that our Megna?
so is P.E. Belmar.
Oh,
Did you
I
notice
didn't
that
know
too?
that.
Yep.
There's some I didn't know that he even got signed. Man, I love him so much. I would love him back. Belmar, that is. He was
There you go.
He's a heart and soul guy. He's a sweetie.
But yeah, and as far as the game itself goes, this one's a grudge match, right? They're the ones who knocked you out of the first round. There's a lot of feelings
in this for sure.
Exactly. So,
and I'm curious, do you think Grubauer will be playing, or is he going to be a little pansy?
I'm sure Grubauer will play. If it is Decord, I don't know if he's got enough experience under his belt to hold off an entire 3, almost 4 lines of nonstop pressure.
Is Decord? How long has he? Okay, so Kraken are losing to the Predators right now.
Mm-hmm. So if he's playing, well, then again, it is on Tuesday, and the Kraken probably have an every other day game, so they might play another 2. But let's see if he's in net right now. No, it is Grubauer. So there is a possibility we face Decord. Maybe they're just trying to rest Grubauer for like later in the season when it's going to start counting.
And I would imagine we'll play Georgie. I don't think that he's going to want to take more than, because if he takes Saturday off, that's going to be like 5 days till the next game.
We got it's pretty spread out.
So I would imagine that Georgie's going to play every game up until we really start putting them together.
Yep, I would agree. So, but yeah, definitely, you need to get that win to kind of get the monkey off your back, because like Edmonton, it took them the entire season last year to beat us.
Better than them, but still, we need to just beat them right away, because they have such like an unearned confidence after last year. It's just so gross. It blows my mind when like people are like, well, they beat the Stanley Cup champions last year, and it's like, no. That wasn't the Stanley Cup champions that they beat. That was
the AHL affiliate of the Stanley Cup champion with Nathan McKinnon and Nico Rantanen.
I know, and they have every right to be excited, but also like it wasn't. Like it was. It annoys me so much. It's such like a bitter bias thing.
But that's, again, we can come up with all the excuses we want, but just like how a golfer has to play the course, you play the team that's set in front of you, and that's who they beat.
Yeah, we're back this year. We're gonna do it.
Yep. But in either sense, we got games on the slate. It's going to be an exciting week to come. But that's going to wrap it up for us. I don't have anything else, Britt. I don't know if you do or.
No, I don't think we discussed. I was just going to go through the little housework. We did trade Caleb Jones, which is Seth Jones' little brother, for Cal Burke. So we traded Cal Burke out, which it's kind of good for him. I've always liked him, but he's kind of one of those stuck in a rut kind of guys. I don't know if you've heard, but like the super weird thing about it is that we had Caleb Jones playing on the Eagles on loan from the Carolina Hurricanes.
That's right, because they don't have an affiliate team.
Right. And so we traded them Cal Burke. Well, now Cal Burke still has to stay with the Eagles.
Don't go anywhere, but you're not on the Avs anymore.
Yeah, it's really awkward. But the Caleb Jones thing is really exciting, especially after last night. If we do need to swap out our 7th D, when you consider Jack Johnson, Josh Manson. I don't know that something's wrong with Josh Manson, but God, he fell a lot last night. But Jack Johnson, I don't think is going to be an all-the-timer. So the Caleb Jones thing it's very reassuring, and I'm excited.
He might end up being your permanent fixture, third pairing.
Yeah. Yep. I definitely think that could happen. I don't know if I had any more little things. I think that's all of the little.
All the small things, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. And we recalled Tufty. So Tufty's on the trip with them. So if somebody's feeling some kind of way, Tufty and Annanen are both traveling, and the new goalie also. So I don't know. We might see Tufty definitely earned at least like a little West Coast trip. So
I think he deserves to dabble his feet in the NHL. He played really, really well in the preseason. So I think give him a few games, see, and who knows.
Yeah, I agree for sure. Especially when you consider McDermott is taking up that one spot. Like, you can't tell me that Tufty wouldn't fill it any better.
He might even fill it better than McDermott.
Exactly.
Because McDermott, he's your fighter, and he's defense primarily, which is kind of weird that they put him in a forward position. But
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah. but then
Whatever.
they refuse to play him. I think that he's really just a vibes guy. I think the vibes are very good, and there's got to be some reason because Bednar they love him. They love him because there's a million other people that we probably could have replaced him with at this point, but there's something about him.
Nope.
So
he's your big lovable dum-dum.
And we don't want to put him through waivers and have to play him later. So.
Exactly.
We know someone would take him. We took him just
easily.
like we're hoping nobody would take him, I'm sure. So
yep, that's exactly right. Okay, well, I think that's going to do it, everybody, for this week. Thank you once again for following us, participating. We hope you guys have a great week. Again, if you want to follow the MHRT network so you can get notified when shows like the Clusterpuck podcast go live, you can go ahead and do that. We ask that you would. Great stuff all week long. New shows, new slate of shows, I think, is the new Monday schedule. I think Bronco Bill has his reaction videos, and
yes, I can guarantee you that is full of excitement.
That is emotion. That is pure raw emotion, and I love it. So go ahead and check out all the rest of the shows that we have on the network. If you want to follow us specifically, you can follow us at the Clusterpuck Podcast on Facebook, and then Clusterpuck Avs on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. That being said, going to have 2 games this week. Hopefully we'll see you guys 3-0. And that being said, have a great week, everyone, and go Avs go.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.